who's going through a transition, career transition, or getting out of school, finding himself recently underemployed. I think kind of a larger conversation around purpose could be useful for him. I think for the masculine, our search of purpose is kind of this eternal search. It's an inward journey. It's where do I fit in the world? As men, as adolescents, we're trying to figure out where we fit into the social hierarchy in school, whether it be sports, in our social life. And then as we start to get through transitions, whether it's out of college, out of trade school, out of the military, out of high school, out of some sort of structure into less structure or no structure, these transitions can really be hard for us if we don't know, if we don't have purpose, if we don't know how to find our purpose. And I think there's a guy in my men's group who's going through a career transition right now where he got laid off and he doesn't really know how to get to the next place. So a couple of us have been kind of helping him a couple times a week, just giving him some good pointers. And this is the way I came up. And so, I was taught early on, in order for me to find meaningful work and purpose and something that I enjoy doing 40 hours a week, I need to find the marriage between my skills and abilities, the environment I want to be in, and what the needs are in the marketplace. If I can network and land myself right here, that's going to be a vocation, a job that I am most likely to enjoy. Now, for some men, I think finding meaningful work is less important if their purpose is being the provider, being the householder, being the father. So they can go, make the donuts every day because it's helping them provide. It's giving them an opportunity to provide for family, to build a stable home, to give their kids maybe more than they had coming up. So I think purpose can be defined in any number of ways. I think for a lot of us, especially with the shifting landscape of the workforce post-COVID and with kind of this onset of everybody's advertising great side hustles. I think the side hustle is almost a response to if we're not feeling fulfilled in our vocation, or maybe we're underemployed and we don't have a vocation. But for the masculine, being on purpose is like our rudder. If you think of a sailboat analogy, being on purpose is like our rudder. I mean, it provides us with the direction that we're going. So like I said, whether or not it's being the household or the father, the provider, maybe that's your purpose. So it's okay to just, for you to get up every morning and make the donuts and put in your 40 hours because of what it allows you to provide for your family. But if you are on the path of wanting to really find something that you can enjoy doing, and that's not kind of the opposite, the soul-crushing work, the way I came up and got out of college, and what I learned, and what's not taught in high school, what's not taught in college, is what I want to do is I want to figure out where my skills and abilities and potentially my passions meet the needs of the marketplace. And then I need to know kind of what's the environment that I thrive best in. So this can be, on the skills and ability side, this can be, okay, what are the things that I naturally like? What are the things that I'm naturally good at? There's personality tests that you can do. Hopefully you did them in high school or college or trade school or military that kind of gave you this. The old ones that we used to do, I don't even know if these exist. The Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs, Strength Finder. These are ways that you can go online. You can find these online or other personality tests and figure out, am I, an individual contributor? Am I a team player? Am I analytical? Am I just, nose down, work hard, get through a project, move on to the next one, or get a project halfway going and then push it off to a team that can finish it? Figuring out, do I want to be in the same place every day? Do I want to be in different places every day? I've got friends who are diligent work from home guys, or, when they plugged into a cubicle, they could just dive in 8-10 hours a day, and then 5 o'clock, they're done. They leave work at home, and then, they're meal prepping on Sundays. They're getting their steps in during lunch. They're doing push-ups in the conference room. they're having a brief meditation at some point. Like they're able to work in a cubicle office type of environment, or do, put in long hours, working from home. But then when 5 o'clock or whatever time they cut off, they can just leave work at home. They don't have to be on emails at night. They don't have to be, versus guys like, that want to be in a different place every day, that want to see something new every day. So the outside sales guys, the customer service guys, the in-person, the figuring out where you're going to thrive, what type of environment. Is it a startup environment? Is it an established industry? And when you can get honest about these things and really kind of dive into, where do I want to be contributing? Where do I want to be spending my time? Then you can kind of start looking at the larger needs of the market and say, okay, where can this plug in? I think, a lot of men will tend to get hired on because a friend says, oh, we're hiring down at the such and such. And he's like, hey, can you get me an interview? Can I, give me an application? That can be great if my purpose is being the provider, period. If my purpose is to be the provider, the householder, the husband, the father, then I don't care if I'm out, making the donuts. It doesn't matter to me what I'm doing, because I'm providing. But if I'm seeking a little bit deeper purpose than a buddy whose company's hiring, I haven't done any work to figure out if I'm going to feel good about that in 2 weeks, 20 years. And that's just going to kind of set me up for potentially another transition. Now, we always learn through transitions, whether it's getting out of school, changing jobs, starting relationships, ending relationships, these large transitions are great places for us to learn and dig deep and grow. But I think when we can take a systematic approach to, I want a different job, or I'm underemployed right now, or I'm getting out of school, I don't know what I want to do. If I can just take a systematic approach to, how do I get here? How do I get to that place where my skills and abilities and passions and the environment that I thrive in are perfectly matched for the needs in the market? So I think of, AI is coming online, tech, the workforce has been shifting, tech is blowing up. I still think kind of trade craft. I still think trade school's not a bad call. If you figure out through all of this that you're going to need to go back to school for a degree, right? Accounting, nursing, plumbing, electrician, then you've at least figured out, I want to be in this place. This is the schooling, or this is the degree that I need. I think, through all of this, once you get kind of a systematic way to start attacking and finding where these all meet, then you can reach your network. The guy that we're helping in my men's group, he's born and raised here, grandparents here, parents, aunts, uncles. So he's able to just tap into his family, his greater family network. Hey, this is what I'm into. This is how I show up at work. This is what I'd like to find. So it's then the children and the grandchildren of grandparents' friends. It's cousins. It's friends from old jobs. Once he can kind of tap into that network and realize he can leverage that and say, hey, I'm in a transition. This is what I like to do. This is how I like to contribute. If you know of anything, let me know. Then it's more about, because I think the ideal goal for anyone in a transition, anybody wanting to make a change, again, going back to finding true purpose and satisfying purpose, is create as many opportunities for yourself as you can, and then choose what's the most loving choice for me. I think going back to, I think there's nothing wrong with this side hustle phenomenon, as long as you recognize, okay, what's my purpose? If my purpose is, I plug in at this one job, I want to make some side money because I want to provide more for my family. I want us to have, be free of debt, have vacations, have more things, have a house. Then I think there's nothing wrong. I think we can go into a kind of a pitfall where we don't have purpose, we're not on purpose, we're underemployed, and we're trying to figure out a side hustle, and we try to learn Canva, and we try to learn on-demand printing, and next thing we know, we're trying to figure out how to sell on Etsy, funny shirts and mugs about moms and caffeine, or whatever it is. I think that can be a pitfall if we're not really focused on, my purpose is I want to find meaningful employment. I want to provide for my family. And so I think this kind of systematic approach, if we can do this work and be honest with ourselves and really get down to this is my target, and then figuring out what are the jobs in my area that I can find that meet all these criteria. We can set ourselves up, or anybody, if there's a man in your life who's in a transition, we can set ourselves up for the most success and recognizing that meaningful work, like we deserve meaningful work. We deserve to be able to do something that we can enjoy doing, that we can learn, that we can grow with. And I hope you found that helpful.